Good afternoon, Tosha Tribe. And so today I have manhandled and harangued and harassed the gentleman to the right of me for a little conversation. Because I want to kind of talk about, you know how on our channel we always talk about things that are business and doing business. And I wanted us to have a conversation with somebody who's been born and raised here, who is, I mean, he's going to tell you about all of his wonderful self, but in particular, how he kind of got here and how he got around here. So, without further ado, introduce yourself to the good people. Tell them who you are.
Okay.
And then let's get into it.
First of all, I'm very shy. And I'm single and searching. And yet
that's not what this is.
And yet she's here.
Yes. Yes. But that's not what we're talking about, Tony. Tony, this is not a singles meet organization today. We are talking serious things, but in particular because you've got a real experience, right? No. Like, you've got a real experience. Like, he's mad downplaying it, and he's making it seem like it's not real. But you put in a lot of work this last, like, 2 years.
Yes,
you've put in a lot of work.
Yes,
like, you're diminishing it, but I don't want us to diminish it. Talk about it. Like, so tell him, give him your name, who you are, and what did you do, and let's discuss it. Go.
My name is Tony Kwalanda. I am a politician in Kenya. I am a civic leader in Kenya. I am a consultant in public relations, in marketing, and in communications, an expert. I am a top journalist in Kenya. Yeah, so Google that name, Tony Kwalanda, you'll see it.
He said, Google me. So good. Now that we got him a little bit serious, because I think sometimes when we do these interviews, people get nervous, but like, it's a conversation. We just talk it here.
Yeah, we just talk.
So like, look, around here generally, and I'm just going to go dive right into it, okay? I don't want to add all these other extra things. We are really going to talk about this political career that you have endeavored upon, right? I met Tony on like a vacation with my friend. He was there with his girlfriend at the time, and we just all really kicked it. The energy is what's up. But more importantly, I really kind of like our conversations. We've always talked about all the good things that you've been wanting to do, right? So what are some of the things that, for someone who's been born in Kenya, from Western, coming in now to Nairobi, that you think you wanted to be able to change for the people? What was something that was important?
What was important for me as a civic leader, as a politician, was to...
Not even like that. Just you yourself, right? Because you had to have that thinking before you moved into being a politician, right?
Yeah.
It's not like one day I was like, I'm a politician. No, that's what I'm going to do, right? So what was something just kind of growing up that you thought was super important, or that made you then want to move into this political career?
I needed people who are behind me, or people who are the same like me, who are not being given the opportunity and the chances to be who they wanted in life, like to get an education, to travel, to meet, to work, to get money. So I needed people who I was raised with back at home, and those one behind them also to get the same experiences, to be very responsible and important men and women in society. So that is something that was missing from the community that I came from. So that's why I always wanted to ensure that at least someone behind me will always remember that Tony held my hand and gave me an opportunity to be someone important and influential in society.
So what made you now, because here it generally seems, right, like most people, you go to school, you go to campus, as you already said, you're a journalist, you're a well-known journalist around here, but then now you take that into politics. Why did you want to do that, and how was it?
Why I wanted to do that? Because I wanted to have a direct influence on my fellow constituents, or my brothers and sisters back at home. There was that gap of someone really holding a hand to the people who are back in Manda Shivanga or in Malava constituency where I come from. There was no one who was actually given that opportunity. There are leaders there, but they don't
give a fuck.
They don't give a shit about pulling up others to the level where they are. So there was that gap. So I wanted really to ensure and try and see if I can try, even if it's pulling one person or two people, at least those are two people who will share the same kind of energy to some other person. So that's why I ventured into it, and I thought, let me use my popularity and my influence in Kenya. Let me now drive it back to my community where they actually recognize me as someone very important because I'm very famous from the things that I do. So I took that famous sort of advantage back in the village, and it worked out very well for me because now they could actually listen to me, they could actually buy into my ideas, and they could actually follow me. So there's a following to that.
So now, was this your first time entering into this political arena to do something like this?
That was the very first time to really get into direct contact politics sort of with the people. I thought it would be easy, but I realized it's a different space altogether. It's like leaving Earth going to Pluto.
Give them a number of, okay, how many people were you, for a lack of a better word, competing against, right? Because it was only one office. So how many people were vying for this office? One. How many people were vying for this office?
I come from Kakamega County in Western Kenya. Then I come from a constituency called Malava. Then there is a small constituency, one of that forms a constituency called a ward called Manda Shivanga, which has voters. We have about 15,000 registered voters, and the population is about 40,000 population of human beings. So we were contesting against 15 other Tony Kwalanda.
That's not light work. That's not light work. That's not light work. Okay, so now, what did you think it was going to be like going into the race, and what did it end up being?
Fine. Initially, of course, I was buying into the fact that I'm well-known, popular, and all stuff like that. What I didn't realize is it was totally different in the village. You know, I've worked and lived in Nairobi, so my popularity cuts across Kenya. However, in the village, it's different. People will know you, yes, you're a TV personality, but again, when it comes to politics, there's someone else who is a Tony Kwalanda in Manda Shivanga. I hope you get it. There's someone who's
totally
so very popular.
So you were
Manda
thinking
I
you
knew
would be able to go from Nairobi there, and it's like they're gonna know me. We got this. I'm done. And you weren't actually anticipating, understanding how local people really felt about what they really thought that they wanted.
So I had a crash program. I had a program where I had to ensure that now I try and show them that yes, I am one of them. Because initially, yes, I was raised during my primary life, my secondary life. I've lived with them. But after secondary, I went to college, and I was now in Nairobi. So I didn't get a time to really. That 6 years, they missed me or they forgot about me. So now I had like 1 year or less than 1 year to try and convince them that yes, Tony is the same Tony they used to know when he was in primary and secondary and before he left. But that was tough because already the other 13 contestants are people who already knew and had lived, married, schooled, and there. So they had an advantage over me. I was popular, but then they're also popular right on the ground.
So do you think that was maybe a little like ignorant of you to go into that thinking like that?
Yes, it was. Those are the lessons. That's one of the lessons I picked. From that whole experience. That you don't just assume that since you're popular on TV in Nairobi, and yes, that they know you when you go to the village, they're saying hello because they know you're famous and stuff like that. That you assume in the village they'll vote for you. It's totally a different whole ball game. And right now, as you're speaking, every other weekend, sort of every other month, I must visit my village. I must go to a church. I must go to a funeral service, to a wedding service.
They have to see you.
To a fundraising event. Yes, they have to see me, all those things. So those are things I'm now investing into every other weekend, every other month. So that one, of course, accumulatively, by the time you're reaching the next election, definitely I'll have accumulated a lot of bonga points or enough points to...
bonga points. Okay, so what do you think was what was a good lesson that you have learned from doing this? Because the other thing is, I think, like, just for clarity, right? Like, you just kind of jumped into this, right? Like, it wasn't like you were raised in a political family or that you were someone who had been maybe taken by the party and saying, hey, we want to be able to do this. You just decided, fuck all of this. I'm about to jump into this and do this, which I think is great. Because a lot of people don't have balls. And that's good. And I like that. But what's the lesson you learned?
My one lesson that I learned, especially in our Kenyan politics, most people don't know it, but it's happening. It will continue happening for the next 50 years, unfortunately.
What?
Voters in the village must be given that 500 shillings you had talked about earlier with me in this table that we're having now.
So no.
So my
tell
point
them.
is this.
No,
So
tell
yeah, I'm
them,
telling them.
because they don't like because right, like look, there's a lot of stuff that, again, and I'm kind of glad that you're saying, look, you were born and raised here, but when you left from where you were from and now you went back, they didn't look at you the same. They didn't accept you the same, right? It's the same. I have ties to Kenya. My grandmother was born here. I know where everybody is. I might not be African in Kenya. In Kenya, I'm not an African, but I know where it is.
Yes.
So even now coming back, I didn't come with the thinking, hey, they're going to accept me because I knew I was different, right?
Yes.
But it's been interesting because that's what we talked about earlier, how hard it is for some people to accept. For instance, those Kenyans who leave, they go away for a long time,
And then
they come back.
and
Then they think there's going to be a sign that you are welcome. And it's like, no, who the fuck are you? You weren't here. You weren't around. So it's interesting that you're actually able to kind of share what that experience is like. What's the lesson you learned from that?
I realized that as much as you're famous around the country, back where you came from, back where you're born, those people, technically to speak, they don't know you. If you've never been with them 1, 2, 3 months, 5, 6 years back in the day. So that's what I really learned, that you have really to be with them. Don't just disappear for 6 years, come back and expect that since you are the most famous politician in the country, so you're going back to the village, so you think they'll just come open up your arms and say, oh yes, oh abracadabra, we like you. No, that isn't going to happen. That's one lesson, tough lesson that I picked up.
Was it humbling?
It was humbling. I expected it, yes, but I didn't. The magnitude that the force that it hit me, I didn't expect that kind of force for it to hit me like that. But now I understood that I cannot just assume I'm famous and then I'll be famous in the village. No, that's not going to happen. So I picked that particular lesson. However, I tried to counter that.
Okay.
And in Kenyan politics, you have to use money to get people to get to your side. So since I was not there for those years, so I tried, and I'm using this word, forgive me, and no one should use this against me in a court of law. I tried.
Give the notice. Go ahead.
I tried to bribe and to make people understand that yes, as much as I was away, but I still understand your needs. So I'll give you some money to try and come to my side. And unfortunately, that's the situation that happens across Kenya by all politicians, 80%. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. I'm not speaking for all the politicians in the country.
I ain't a politician, but I feel like those numbers feel right. They sound right.
Yes, I don't speak on behalf of any other politician, but that is the trend down in the grassroots. You have to bribe your way to get attention of that old 70-year-old lady or man, or that 16-year-old, 18-year-old, 19-year-old teenager that you need to convince to win them over to your side. Because, yeah.
So what did you do?
First of all, my first strategy was use money to get attention, which I did very well. I used money in churches. I mean, our president did that anyway. Yes, our president did.
She definitely did.
Everybody did. So you use money also in use money. Just use money is
the motivator.
Constant.
It's the lubricator.
I'm going to look for the word for it's the constant X or something. That is something that you have to use.
In algebra, right. I hear what you're saying, but that's it. It's a common denominator.
That's what you have to use really to counter the measure of the thing that you didn't do while you're at that particular place. So that's one big lesson that I learned.
So now when you did that, when you go back again, because you're definitely going to, recharge yourself and like a phoenix rise again, would that be the same strategy you would use your second go round?
Right now, my strategy is, since the next election is in 2027. Yes?
27, so what is that, 5 years
That's
now?
in the next 5 years. Every other weekend, as I've told you, every other weekend, I make my way to the village. I meet those women groups, I meet those churches, I meet those young teams and all that. So, and right now I don't need to use any money to convince them, or at least to call them.
It's your time.
It's now my time just to speak to them like any other Kenyan.
And consistency.
Exactly, that's the thing that I want to do. So I'll be there every other weekend, every other month, in these women groups. So I'm starting early. As these other people who are elected leaders, you see, they're so busy now trying to work, get projects in the wherever they are. But now me, I am campaigning, getting the attention, making myself popular. So by the time this leader is now starting to campaign, I've already done all my campaign.
Got it.
So that's the one lesson I learned, and which I'm already doing. It's not even I'm starting, I'm already doing it.
Good. I like the way you're speaking, right? Because language is important, and how we talk and how we said, right?
Yes.
Even before you were like, oh, I'm trying. No, we're doing.
Yes.
Because how we talk to ourselves is important. Because look, you also did this campaign by yourself.
Oof.
Right?
And of course, thank you very much to Rita. Rita has been one of my platinum supporters. Rita has been. Rita is in the top 3.
Okay, not top 3. All right.
Supporters. Rita is one lady. Rita and the company is a lady who I will definitely get a piece of land in Manda Shivanga and give to Rita.
Yes.
I will not even think twice about it. If I when I get, I will not even think twice about it. I will not even think twice about it, because she has done that. So it was a tough journey. However, with of course with the support of Rita, I have to put this on record. Rita has really supported my work. I don't even know how to say it.
No, but I believed in it, because we used to talk a lot about this, and a lot of the stuff that you said you really wanted to do.
Yes.
So a lot of reasons why I wanted to come out here and do this, the same thing, right? To do and create something that people can be proud of.
Exactly.
And to be able to make something where we're building something and we're really creating something that's better than what these assholes have left it as, right? But it takes work.
It takes a lot of work.
Takes like community and being able to talk to people and doing all that, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
So now tell me, because you kind of skimmed over it, but you did this by yourself.
I did this.
So now, how was that like? And now when you do your second run, are you going to try to affiliate yourself with a party, or would you still want to do it independently?
Yeah, this time around I want to do it on myself, to feel the pinch of being a lone ranger. And I realize, yes, it takes a lot to be a lone ranger, especially in Kenyan politics. Being a lone ranger in Kenyan politics is suicidal. I just wanted to feel that suicidal effect and see how it works on me.
Burn in your belly.
Yeah, it was
makes you move different.
Trust me, it is crazy, because you're basically the CEO of this company, and you're like doing everything. You are like micromanaging all sort of things, from campaigns to agents, to financing, to people, to projects, to all those things.
Showing your face,
exactly.
Being able to be available
you are the
to people.
You are doing literally everything.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. So I realized, so what I picked up from there, as you said, next time I'll have to affiliate myself to a party, because right now at least I can see which party is the dominant one going into the next general election. The current president is someone who will be there for the next 10 years. That one you can take it to the bank. So his party is the most likely party that will be people will want to associate with, and definitely myself will also want to be associated with that, to make it very easy. So I'm already making myself popular on the ground, so it will be easier to bargain for that ticket from that particular party compared to any other candidate. So I picked up very valuable points, which I might not want to make it known on this lovely why am I looking at? She told me not to look at this lovely channel. But of course, with time, we will be able to share it. For now, we will not be sharing it, because I don't want Rita's friends to pick my ideas and go and replicate them in Manda Shivanga.
Yeah, look, I'm about that life. You know that we believe in, especially anything that's helping women in particular, making them their lives easier, making them being able to do what they have to get done easier. Yeah. I'm about that life. I've always been about that life. But but like I said, we always clicked because everything that I've discussed with you, we've agreed. And it has to and the thing is that it has to come from us, right?
True.
Because that's where the change comes, and we can't always wait for other people to do it. So now that the election is over, how did you feel after that?
course, I had a period whereby I had a lot of, I think I was depressed or oppressed or stressed.
Sad, man. Just call it what it is. Nigga, you was sad. You done lost. I done put in all this work. All this money.
I was messed up.
Yeah, you was sad. You better go ahead. You was messed up.
I was messed up. Trust me, I don't expect to lose. I expected to lose, yes, but I did not expect to lose. I hope you understand that. Yes, I was sick at least for a month. After that, after 9th of August, I was sick for a whole month. Sick. I'm just using sick because I'm putting depression, stress, and all that in one basket.
All of it.
And
lack of sleep. Just not being able to connect with people in a real way.
Yes, you're wondering why did you do wrong to people, and as you said, the projects that we did in Manda Shivanga, which are still there
really
and are still going on, and you're wondering why people are not seeing that. But again, you cannot blame the people because the people are also wired and engineered in a very different way. So those are things that are supposed to understand about those people, that community. Yeah, I was messed up.
What did you do to cope with those feelings? Because we're also older people, right? We're not young people. So what did you do to kind of cope with that disappointment? Because the thing is, right, like, look, a lot of people sometimes avoid doing big things because they don't want the big disappointment.
Yeah.
Right? So you always do surface level garbage, right? But to do what we're doing and then have the other side of it where it doesn't work out how you are, it's a big emotional toll, right? So what did you do to help yourself out of that? How did you cope? What did you manage?
Unfortunately,
be honest. If it was alcohol, it's going to be alcohol.
Trust me. Let me just say this. It's I did not in any way get any assistance. It is suicidal. As I said, this was very suicidal for me. I did not get any attention from any experts, maybe psychologists or anything. I just weathered the storm.
How did you weather it though?
Myself.
How though?
I went into, is it hibernation? Like you just disappear.
Isolation.
I went into isolation, disappeared from people, because I needed that time just to think and just beat up myself. Just like, Tony, what did you do wrong? Tony, what can you do next?
So you were really beating yourself up as though you did something wrong in all of this.
Exactly. I was beating up, thinking I'm doing something wrong because of how why didn't you elect me? Why did you put me in number 2? Like, seriously, guys, are you fucked up not to see this kind of developments that can help you? You're just giving someone else who will not. But anyway, that whole healing process now brought me now into this kind of sober thinking that, Tony, there are certain things that you didn't do that you need to do for the next.
Okay.
So it was actually good, that I had that.
That's good, because then maybe you actually needed that, right?
Yeah, I did.
Maybe you needed to actually feel what it's like not to be a winner.
Thank you.
Because, right, because what you're saying is you're so used to winning.
Yes.
You're so used to being able to just be like, well, I'm just Tony Kwalanda, so what are you talking about? And these guys were like, I don't care who you are. I don't care about this clinic you're putting together.
Thank you.
I don't care about this financial stuff you're putting together for us.
Yes.
I don't give a shit about any of that. You can take your ass back to the city and stay your ass there. That's got to be a lot to stomach, especially, hey, here, as an African man. That wasn't easy for him.
That was hard.
Hey.
That was hard. And you can remember the kind of finances, resources that we put in, the traveling back and forth, Nairobi, Manda Shivanga. Those are 8 hours of driving.
Each way,
one way. So you're doing 16 hours if you're going back and forth. So you can imagine the money, time, all that, and you're paying the campaign team as well. You're doing the campaign itself, so you spend a lot of money. Then they do this to you. I was prepared for that. I was prepared to spending.
So that's interesting how you're saying it. What they did to you. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
Look at what they did to me. Did they do that to you? Did they? Or
I did that to myself.
Maybe you did it to yourself.
I did it to myself.
Maybe you went over there too big-headed.
Exactly.
Right?
I went there too big-headed, chest thumping,
Yeah.
But they told me, calm down, our son. We understand you're our son, but hey, you need to grow few more hairs on your head.
Yeah, you got to put a little more bass in your voice.
Yes.
The balls ain't descended yet.
You need to have some more shoulders.
It's got to be a little more broad here. You're still narrow.
Yes, exactly.
You know, you
That's
come
what it
back
told me.
after some more ugali.
That's what it
Makes
told
sense.
me. That's what it told me.
Okay, so now, what are you now? Okay, fine. So now this has happened. Now you've pulled yourself out of this funk. What are you doing currently?
Right now, I'm getting myself correctly politically positioned ahead of the next election. As much as I'm doing the projects in the village, but my village people need to see your value. They need to see you working next to the Prime Minister. They need to see you working next to the MP. They need to see you working next to the Speaker of Parliament. So that's currently what's happening. I have like 3 legislators or members of Parliament or members of the National Assembly who I'm doing work with. Yes, so I'm positioning myself with them because they have a political party that I can use, a political vehicle I can use for the next election.
Sure.
So I'm positioning myself as early as right now, for the next like 4 years, 5 years. So at least
So this is also an interesting thing, right? Because if we're saying 4 years, this is not a game of instant returns.
Nope.
Right?
Thank you for saying that.
Right?
But
It's not that. So now what do you say to people? Because you go into, because I definitely had that feeling when I first got here.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I'm going to start this business
And
in a year.
Boom. On your face.
Hey, same. Isolation. Humble yourself. Come again. And it's like, you better come correct. What would you say to those people who are trying to do this? Like, what would you say to them? How would it work?
Be patient. In Kenya, I mean, like I'm looking at a politician right now who is in parliament, who is a member of parliament in Kakamega. He used the same road that I'm using right now. His first time in politics, he failed miserably. In this election this year, he just won it landslide. Tells you a lot. So he tried it the first time. He was testing the waters. People didn't accept him, but he introduced himself the first time to the society, to the community, or to what he's doing.
Got it.
And he was consistent with the things he had initially started.
How hard is consistency?
Consistency is so bad. This legislator, as we're speaking, the one I'm giving the example is, right now, he does not even have his own home house. And you know, in Western Kenya, lawyers like us, we are so particular about a leader, and they must have either a wife, children, and also they must have a home. This legislator I'm talking about, who has won after failing the first time, does not even have a home right now. But because he failed the first time, and then of course continued with the kind of tempo that he had initially, people were easy enough to elect him this second time round, despite whether he had a wife. In fact, he has no wife, he has no children, he has no home, but he was elected.
So does that give you promise? Because aren't you single, bilingual, and ready to mingle? He ain't got no kids, y'all. So how do you feel about that? Like, do you think it affected you this first time? Do you think it affected you this first time?
It did affect me huge time this first time, because I'm like, you don't have a kids, you don't have a wife. How can we trust you? Which I accepted, and I told them, yes, fine, I don't have a kid, I don't have children, but hey, I'm doing this kind of stuff. Still, this could be the same situation I'm finding myself in the next election. But you see, I've already introduced myself. I will have to continue with the kind of consistency. It is difficult to do the projects and stuff like that, but already I've introduced myself. So they'll be spoiled for choice when it comes to the next election, because they will definitely have to choose Tony Kwalanda. Unless there's another Tony that comes up.
I like that. They have to. So now let me ask you. You had said that this was a big disappointment for you when you lost this time and what you dealt with. What coping skills do you think you learned during how you were saying where you isolated yourself, where let's say I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. You're getting your round two. You're getting your round two. But let's say if you don't get your round two, what are you doing in terms of being able to cope with it better? Do you think you've learned any skills, even if it was by yourself? Do you think maybe this next time, would you want to maybe talk to somebody to be able to get it out of you? Have you learned, like, what other skills would you have learned? You know, because look, the other thing is, we are in a very man-centered society, and you know, you can't show certain things and right? So even the fact that you were able to say you were really depressed, you were feeling really bad. I'm sure it's only now you're able to say that out loud, right?
This is the first time.
Right? Welcome. Look at this for growth. Okay.
This is the first time ever I'm sharing this.
So, but that's real because you do have to learn skills and coping mechanisms to withstand these levels of failures, right? Because, or not failures, let's not say failures. Let's be clear with our languages.
Lessons.
Setbacks, lessons, reevaluation.
Steps.
What now, if something were to now come up, have you learned as a coping skill to help you that next time?
Unfortunately for me, I have a very bad habit where I didn't keep myself. I'm a lone ranger. I'm an introvert. I think that's the word they use. An introvert who keeps stuff to themselves. But again, I've realized you cannot be a lone ranger. And that's the kind of attitude and style I took also in politics in Kenya. You cannot be a lone ranger in politics. You just have to get a team or someone, a godfather who can hold your hand and take you through the very treacherous terrain of politics in the country. So I will have to get off my bad habit and just learn how to talk to someone.
So learning how to ask for help.
Thank you very much. Talk to someone, let them hold your hand, let them take you through. You need to, because there's always someone better than you, there's someone better than you in
Bigger,
that particular industry.
better, smarter, all of that.
So learn their tricks, stay close to them, allow them to move you around. Like the president right now is grooming a politician from central Kenya, and what the president is doing, he's walking around and walking around this particular politician in every state function that he goes to.
Okay.
In and outside the country, you'll see this one politician walking around the president. That's basically tell you something. He's being groomed for something, and in the future you'll see it.
Right.
So I picked up a lesson. I have to be groomed. I thought I'll be my own groomer. I thought I'll be the one who will groom myself.
Yeah, it's hard to have to.
But
say you'll need
my ass was
somebody to help
whooped.
you. Ooh, it's hard to admit that you got your ass beat, ain't it? It's hard. That shit is hard. So now let me ask you a question. What do you do to become a chosen person to be mentored?
What do I do?
Because throwing the cash around is not going to do it, because you got to be chosen by somebody who's bigger than you, right? Which means that their cash is bigger than yours. So it's not going to be that. What do you do? How do you make that happen?
God helps those who help themselves. There's something that's said like that. So,
I agree with you on that.
So I must do something on my own. Before someone notices you, you must have done something that is outstanding, noticeable, something that someone can buy into.
Sure.
I mean, before you're employed, there's something they've seen into you that can add value to a particular thing.
Sure.
So that's why right now I am doing everything possible. And for information, you connected me to some very lovely friends from the United States of Kenya, you together with London, and that particular relationship has bore fruit in terms of bringing in friends from the US who are now fully involved in the projects that I'm doing in the village. So the medical clinic, this scholarships that you're looking at, the circles and helping community groups in our society get funding and all that is happening because we just met on holiday, in a vacation, in the vacation, whatever it was. And right now, that vacation is now making me get into projects that I'm doing in my community that are helping some. It is something that's happening.
No, it's great. No, it's great.
And I'm very honored I met you. As in, people never meet by accident.
Sure.
There's always a reason you meet someone. And trust me, if anybody took a video of us meeting in our vacation, they will not even think that we'll be here today, and the kind of project no one would have even imagined.
Facts. And just for you viewers to understand, we, like me and Linda, we were staying at this really nice hotel, and Tony and his then girlfriend were also staying there, and I don't even know how it happened. I think Joy came and said, we used to live in the same apartment building, and I was like, I don't know, maybe. And then it was right around this time, this beautiful twilight time. And then I think you just really cracked me up. And then I think we all just started kicking it. And then, we were going to the airport together. We were going back to the airport together. And then this animal over here was like, we should do a shot at the bar before we go. and it wasn't like a small shot. It was like a triple freaking shot. And we hit that. Then we got to the airport. Oh, and then we had drinks at the airport.
And along the airport, that we misbehaved as well in terms of.
And then
whatever.
we ended up coming back. But again, no. But you know what's interesting is that I had just earlier today did a video about adult play dates, and I was just saying because we all kicked it at the hotel we met, and then it was like, let's see if we can all hang out again later. And it was the same like vibe, and it was still really chill. And so London and I survived the relationship. In the divorce, obviously we went to his side.
Wow, thank you very much.
You know, because you have to pick a side. Look, whose side you going to? All right, so that's what we did. We've picked a side. Here we are. But I'm really glad that everything like worked out how it worked out, because again, the only reason why you were also able to meet all of these other people to be able to help with the endeavors you're doing in Manda Shivanga is because the vibe and what you stood for and what you said aligned with what London and I also think. And that's imperative.
I'm so super grateful. The people in the village might not understand it, but in the next 1 year, 2 years, they will understand exactly what kind of relationship I'm having with America, and for specifically with Rita, with London, and their other friends. You might not even understand it, but if you go check out Tony Kwalanda with the kind of projects I've done, I have a website which I've put every kind of projects I've done, and every project that I've done on that particular website is tied to President Biden and his people.
Let us say, instead of saying tied to President Biden, why don't we say it is tied to our ancestors who were gone and have come back.
Perfect.
You know? Instead of throwing in, you know, the white man and
people in the white man.
You know, because this has come because we was all talking, right? So you feel what I'm saying? So as we bring this to a close, I always really like to ask, what are 2 things that you would now knowing what you know, that you would have told your younger self? What are 2 pieces of advice that you would give to your younger self now knowing what you know?
I will tell myself that you can never be richer than your country. It's I've just paraphrased from the books of the late Miles Monroe, that you can never be richer than yourself, than your country, or you can never be richer than your country. And what I mean by this is that you and I are responsible for making the better that we always want to, the better that we always look forward to. We always say we want to go to America for the land of milk and honey. We don't need to go to America to make the land of milk and honey.
We definitely do not. It's right here.
It's you and I are responsible for making Kenya or making any other country the land of milk and honey. That's what I'm saying. You can never be richer than your country. You have that responsibility to make that country richer.
I really like
if you become rich alone, trust me, we're gonna wait for you at your gate, snatch your car, steal you, shoot you, then your richness is over.
Rob this motherfucker.
Exactly, gonna do
Horrible,
that. But if you walk along, hold other people, definitely it will trickle down to everybody else, and you'll enjoy your richness in openness and in love. So that's one thing I'll tell myself right now that I didn't know back there in the day.
Okay.
Yeah, and the next one is that everything happens for a reason.
Okay.
Whether you fail, actually there's no failure. Failing is an experience.
Yep.
Whatever you go through, it's a step to the next level in your life.
Yep.
So never give up, be consistent.
Ooh, look. And he was nervous to do this video. Look.
I'm even overdoing the time.
Look, I was like, oh, it's just gonna be this long. He's like, no, I want to do the time, and I was like, just chill.
I told her I want to do 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's like, I'm doing only 5. Look at the time. But no, I'm really glad, because also it's it's good to be able to hear from different people who are doing different things. That is not always just the norm that you hear out there, and I like it. And so on that note, Tosha Tribe, we out here. You know that we like doing this because I want to give you guys the information you need. But anyways, I'm going to put Tony's information down. Follow him, help him out, give him some donations for everything he's doing out there in his village. He's really, really helping the community. He really is. And if you check out any of his social media pages, same thing, you're going to see it. And that's really all I got. So like, subscribe, tell your people. We out here.
Toshana Investment Africa.
But our YouTube page is our TIA Marketplace, where we talk a little bit about everything that's related to what we do. Yeah? You like that? All right. Anyways, like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.